Hello and welcome to our daily sketching routine. It is Friday, December 27th, 2024. Today's topic will be, I'm going to continue this sketch page. This is the third day, I think, but I'll just call it Character Design Study for now. And if you are returning, welcome back, and if you are new, welcome. I sketch and post every day, and I use timers to stay focused and to build a sketching habit. So I'll set a 10-minute timer. I used to do 5 minutes, but now I tend to do 10 minutes. And yeah, I'll link to the other videos in this series, this mini series, but basically I started on a blank page and ended up the first video was really about just how to start a blank page and how to sketch from reference but change it up and stuff. And then the next one was about developing a character design just based on that. And so that's what's going on here. And so from yesterday's video, I think I did 2 videos so far. This will be the third one. I set up this part, I think. And yeah, this took so from yesterday's video to where I'm at right now, which this is the whole page, took about an hour to do this part, and it looks different, but basically the same. And that's kind of what I'm going to work on this area, because I want to detail this a little bit more, make it look a little bit more finished, but I do like the contrast, so I'm not going to render it the same. And I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that, but yeah, that'll be kind of the topic, because part of it is keeping it on character, or keeping the character design. So with that said, yeah, this is what I ended up with, and I like it. I think it's interesting. Part of it has to do with, there's some things that are off. I feel like the horse is a little off, but that's okay. Like the character is a little off too, like the proportions, but really, if it is a mood board, it's really about like the feel of it. Yeah, like when you're just kind of looking at it. But yeah, like one thing is, after working on it for a while, like get to a point where you can leave it, then it's good to kind of, like not look at it for a while, and then like right now I'm just looking at it again. Then you can kind of add these little, so I call this, this has been like detailing, and I'm going to detail this, but this would be like final details, as I call it, where it's just very deliberate. These are the final touches, but I'm going to leave that alone for now. So yeah, I want to bring this more finished towards this, but like I don't want it to look exactly the same, and I think that'll be a good demo, well, for me also, because part of it is you can see that there's different looks, and even like in the other videos, like the way that I sketched it, I approached it differently. So hopefully that it was helpful to me to just practice that. And then but then like the style can still be similar, and it can still have the same mood or feel. But one thing I did want to sort of talk about, because I was thinking about it, is that in the first, so I have these different stages. So in the first stage, which I just call like the sketch stage, my main thing, like, it's this idea of like setting yourself up for success in the next stage. So if the next stage is the value, like the shading or the values, which is, you can see here, then the way to set up that would be to have a good drawing, because then you can just think about like the light and dark pattern. So the sketch is what's setting that up. Like the drawing is what's sets you up for like success in the like the value stage, or stage 2, which is like the, I just call it like the shading, just because that's what I do. And so the drawing is good, and so that's good. And then I had already started to put in like the light and dark pattern, which I just got from this, which I was looking at like a picture and just kind of loosely going off of it. And then I can just use that as reference for a character design, which helps because then it makes it look more like stylistic. So part of the style has to do with the instrument that you're using, whether it's a paintbrush or like a pen in this case, or a pencil, because there's different darknesses of pencil, and that affects like the look of it. So I want this to be kind of open. Now, as I look at it, there's different ways I could approach this. I could approach it more outliney, which might look nice. And so the way I would do that is, one, it helps to have like the rest of the, if we are designing a character, which we are, it's good to have like these other sketches. And it's also good to kind of approach it in like a different way. Now, normally I wouldn't be talking. So the way I would approach it is, I don't mind making it kind of outline. So part of this is just cleanup and also warming up. Yeah, part of it is just like cleaning up some stuff, which is not a bad way to warm up. So one thing you can do is just go over the line again. That would help, and that would like kind of set it apart. So if you're using kind of a dead line like I am right here, then so that's like the initial line, and if you're definite about that, then you can leave it. And it would look more finished. So that's one way to approach it. If you were using a brush, you could, or like one of these days I'm going to get like a really thin brush pen, and you can kind of just go over that. Now I do have like a thicker brush pen, but it's so bold that it would throw off this page, because part of it is also just like the look of it. So that's kind of one easy way to do it. So for example, just draw like so, like the ear, for example. It's just stuff that that you know. Now you can also look up reference and do this. So just draw like what you know, basically. And I wouldn't go too crazy with so I started shading it a little bit here, as you can see, but I wouldn't go too crazy to shade it if you want it to look different than, let's say, some of these other areas. So part of this is just me kind of talking to myself about this, but maybe it'll be helpful. And plus it helps me, because normally I would just turn on some music and just kind of do this, but I mean, this isn't bad either. Plus, I mean, it's part of my work. The other thing is this idea of like, how outlined do I want it? I mean, I kind of want it to be kind of outlined, just because I usually don't do that. That's one thing. But I can. It's a look. So I would just put down some lines like this and be pretty definite about it, meaning whatever line I put down for this would be, I could just leave it if I wanted. And then you can have more subtlety. Again, it's a look. So just going back to the idea of like the sketch. So the sketch is already done. So this part is the values. And keep in mind that so part of the like thick and thin has to do with like the overlap. So if there's some that are already drawn in, I would just do that. I would keep it and just be very sparing with it. That's because of the style. And you can see I didn't do that here. I just, I knew I was going to like kind of go like in this direction with it. Mainly because I knew that the sketch, for example, that's a good example of what I'm talking about. Like I knew it was off. And plus I was still searching for the character. And plus it's also like practice and experimenting. But yeah, if there's like certain, it's not bad to keep it kind of open, honestly. This picture is actually, like the sketch is pretty good. And that's kind of what I mean about like overwork. If the sketch is good, you don't really want to create more work for yourself. So yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like this is, so for example, I just put down like that line, and so really it's just about detail. So a big part of like what makes this look cool to me is just the fact that the outline is like this sort of outlines it. So yeah, like I could go in and start cross hatching because that's basically what the rest of it is, but I don't know that I want to. Part of it is just cleaning up like this, and that's what's going to make it look more finished. So part of it's cleaning up and not messing up like what you already have, but integrating. And this part, in a way, is kind of unconscious. But that was because of the fact that each stage was already set up. So for example, the sketch was good. The value, the light and dark pattern is already set up in the sense that like there's a lot of light more than like shadow as compared to, let's say, over here. And so the light and dark pattern's already set up. So then now I'm detailing it, which is cleaning up, like cleaning up the lines. I might just want to outline stuff. So I think one thing I was going to say was that the line itself is also a value. So when you draw a line, it also is saying like light and dark, because that's why there's a line there. So yeah, that's one way to not overwork it. And so if you want to clean up some stuff, you can just kind of keep the same look. Yeah, I wouldn't crosshatch everything. But that's a good thing. That means that the sketch was pretty good. But I was going to say about the, yeah, like if you had a brush, you can kind of do like the light and dark thing. I mean, it takes work. Like you have to be good at it. I'd like to work on the face like more. The thing is, the light's coming from over here, so you can see that I can't really draw a whole lot on the light side here because of the, if I wanted to keep the more open look to it, really I can only just draw the dark or like accentuate the line, because again, the line is like the dark. So if I start to work too much on this side, it'll throw off like the dark, and I'll have to like bring up the rest of it. It throws off the values. So for example, it's okay that this is pretty like not shaded, it's pretty open, but only because this is open on this. It looks more open on the light side. I'll do another 5 minutes and start to wrap it up, because I feel like for like a sketch like this is pretty good. It's mostly cleanup. So for example, if I want like a shape, I'm just gonna keep a pretty open, like be sparing about it. Yeah, it's not a whole lot. If you really want to, you can kind of show the form a little bit like this. This is just a stylistic thing though. Now this character is just a one-off character, as I'm calling it. So I mean, I'm studying it, but mainly I'm studying how to do something like this for other characters I have in mind. But I mean, it's always nice to have some characters. You can be kind of decorative, so you can kind of add like little details like this. I wouldn't overdo it. It's pretty easy to overdo this kind of stuff. If I do add like these little like crosshatch things, I'm gonna do it on the shadow area. So this would be like pushing the values, but be pretty sparing with it. Plus it's like a sketchbook page, so I'm not really trying to make it look too finished anyway. But yeah, I just wanted to share the progress and some thoughts about it. But yeah, something like this, I would work from the shadow into like the light area and just leave the light area kind of open. Because that's part of the look of it. I mean, I don't tend to do this kind of look, but I like it though. Part of it is because the drawing was good, and so I didn't have to overwork it or fix things. So some shading is good, or you could just leave it open. So for example, like if you want to give the lips a little bit more shading, that would help. But yeah, this would be final detail type stuff. Or let's say it's detail, but then later you might want to add the final detail. It's always good to kind of leave it alone for a little while and then come back to it. But I think that'll be pretty good for now. I don't have too much more I want to do. But yeah, here's a look at this page. This is just a one-off character that I came up with, but maybe it can give you an idea of how to start up a blank sketchbook page, how to turn sort of kind of random things that you're doing as a study and like combine it into a composition. It's just an idea, or you can have it be separate. It doesn't have to always be like a big sketchbook page. It's just having fun. So yeah, as I sign off for today, I want to thank you for joining me for our daily sketching routine. And if you like these videos, please support the channel and come back. And until next time, keep on sketching.